Hello, my name is Utibe. I created Love as a KPI, and my aim is to provide leaders with resources that demonstrate that both their personal objectives as leaders, as well as their organization's brand, strategic, operational, financial goals, can all be accelerated through love, loving people. And so the question I've been answering is, what does love look like in action, right? And so there are five indicators that I've surfaced, and this is a series that explores each one. And number two is generosity. So I'll tell you a story. In about 2009, 2010, a guy named Louis von Ahn, right? He's a brilliant computer science professor at Carnegie Mellon. He'd already sold at least one company to Google, and he noticed something troubling, right? People who needed language skills the most were often immigrants or those from less privileged backgrounds. Those were the people who could not afford quality language education. And so I imagine that the irony wasn't lost on him, right? Access to better economic opportunities. To do that, to get that, you needed language skills, but to access language education, you needed economic means. Um, and so he made what many would consider an irrational business decision. He decided to build a language learning platform that would be completely free, not partially free, not freemium, but entirely free forever. But what happened as he proceeded in building this business revealed something even more fundamental at work, right? So he and his team, they didn't just create a completely free app. They actually began to actively look for more ways to give. They invested millions in research to improve language learning methods. They shared their findings openly with other educators. They built tools that other organizations, competitors could use freely. Again, they share openly with the broader academic community. They publish studies and data on their platform to allow researchers to understand how their system works and to contribute to the field of language learning research. If they make their approach transparent and accessible to others, including others who would be deemed as competitors. They shared about their gamification techniques, about personal learning algorithms, studies. They they created partnerships with schools and nonprofits to expand access. And when they even discovered some languages were endangered, right, and they were disappearing from communities, they actually created, added them to their platform, developed courses to preserve them. This they all did. And so here's what's fascinating. Companies called Duolingo, and you may have heard of it. And this posture of generosity did not hurt their business. It fueled it. So this free model created unprecedented scale. They basically have, at this point of this recording, 500 million people who have registered and gained access to quality language education. As a result, you have communities that have been able to preserve or better preserve their heritage languages. You have educators who can incorporate Duolingo's research into their teaching, and other amazing outcomes for other people. And honestly, this massive user base led to breakthroughs in language learning technology. They have, because they have built this reputation for generosity, because they have this platform that's easily available, you actually have users who have wanted to pay for premium features to support their mission. And so as of 2023, they had over 4 million paying subscribers, hundreds of millions in revenue. Stock price doubled after going public. As of, again, the time of this recording, their market cap's about 16 billion, and they achieved this while keeping their core promise. The entire language learning experience remains free, and it's a powerful demonstration that generosity and business success are not just compatible; they can amplify each other. So this notion of generosity, where you're giving, right? That's the headline. It's the second indicator of love, and the one I wanted to highlight today. And it's not just about the action; it's about the heart posture, the posture behind the action, right? It's that disposition that says, "I'm going to look out rather than self-protect. I'm going to do actively look for needs to meet." And there's a reaction that people have when that is the case, right? This is what we saw with Duolingo. They operated from like a sort of the abundance mindset, for lack of a better term. They didn't feel like they had to hoard. They felt like there was success to go around. They didn't look at what was unwanted or excessive to give away. They actually said, "What's the most valuable thing that we can give?" And that's the posture that they've had. When businesses embrace this kind of generosity, I believe that it transforms everything. The same thing is true for all the indicators of love, right? A business that embraces generosity is actively sharing knowledge and resources freely, even with competitors, right? They believe that there's a lot more to go around. They're looking across their value chain to identify ways to add value to others. Businesses that operate this way are using their position to empower and control. They're operating again from that abundance. Duolingo's story shows that love, right? This notion of love, and this is one of the indicators of love, is and can be the engine of business success. Right? I've summarized the story in a few minutes, but truly, when organizations position themselves to give freely and frequently, right? When they actively seek needs to meet, they create a kind of value that even money can never buy. Um, so Duolingo, of course, is a successful app, millions of users, high retention rates, the most downloaded education app in the world. It's also an example of what generosity looks like. It's one example. There are many others, but true generosity is not just about, again, finding what you don't value and what's not useful to give. It's really thinking through this business, we will be a force of good, right? It's about seeing your organization not just as a profit center, but as a force of good in the world, because in the end, most successful businesses don't just take value from the world, they generously give it. And so that's indicator number two, generosity, with Duolingo as a case study.